Huh? There. Oh. Huh? Durr.
Hey now, and welcome to the KC Toy Reviews. We are here today with another visually striking piece by SSR Studio, and that today is with Batman Hush. Now, of course, this is from the very famous comic book line Hush with Batman, the Riddler, all of that. And paired with that amazingness is a stunning piece, again by SSR Studio. Now, are there any drawbacks on this piece? There might be one or two, unfortunate to say. So, if you want to find out what those are, let's go ahead together, hold our hands, and dive right the hell goddamn in. And of course, as I mentioned before, we have a visually striking piece in front of us. Most, if not all, releases by SSR Studio are absolutely amazing. They are ripped straight from the comics. And of course, this one here is from the Hush Batman line. And I guess the other thing that came to mind is this is actually very similar in look to a Sideshow Batman that's out there. They have a Sideshow Collectibles version 1/6 that is a blue cave version similar to this. However, this one's a lot more hulking in size. The print on the chest is a little bit different. And then, of course, you have the amazing bandaged masked head sculpt. Now, while we're in this shot, everything's great. The belt, I do like. It's more of a hard plastic, but it has a nice paint scheme to it. The reason I do like this is I've seen a lot of leather and pleather Batman customs out there that come with the belts that is pure leather. A, I've seen the paint chip off of it, and B, I've seen it literally deteriorate over the years. So going with an actual, maybe it's probably just a 3D printed piece here with a beautiful paint scheme to it, I think was actually a thumbs up. The head sculpt itself is very nice. I'll zoom in on that in a few seconds. The only, there might be two downfalls that we'll go to in this area. And the first being the Batman logo. Now, looks amazing. It's this kind of heavy plastic feel to it. My only concern is that it might start to come up on the edges at one point. Now, I feel spoiled, and the only reason I say that is, well, let me tee it up by mentioning, have you ever watched a show that, let's say, has a couple seasons, but you started on season 2 or 3? Now, season 2 or 3 obviously had a lot more money than season 1. And of course, season 1 was great still, but season 2 was just a little bit better. They had different funding. They were able to do better things. And then, of course, they worked the blueprints of season 1 and fine-tuned them to make season 2 a little bit better. And why did I tell you that crazy story? As well, I started with other SSR Studio releases. Let's take, for instance, the Death of Superman. And that one is absolutely insane. The way the Superman logo is printed into that, the Fison body, the head sculpt. In fact, we are talking almost a near perfect figure. The only thing I remember knocking on that one was a slight difference in tone between the head sculpt and the Fison body. However, again, in defense of SSR, it's hard to lock yourself into the tones of those Fison bodies. There is only one tone out there, which now swinging back to this, I do believe that the Death of Superman release was an improved version of the characters that SSR Studio is pumping out. And the only reason, again, I'm mentioning that is this imprint on the chest of the bat symbol compared to the Death of Superman version is no comparison. This makes me a little fearful that it could come off in time. However, I could be speaking out my butt and completely wrong on that. It's just one thing that I'm picking up on the edges of this symbol here. And then lastly, again, as I mentioned, another spoiled thing, the body underneath. Now, in comparison to the Fison body, which has insane articulation, the body that we have underneath here has single jointed elbows. Now the knees are double jointed, but this leaves you for not too much articulation. So as far as bendability on this, it doesn't go much past this point here. And forgive me, SSR, again, I am brutally honest. I always have to be honest to all the viewers out there. Here's what we have for articulation on the body used. With that said, depending on the pose, going back to what we mentioned right in the beginning, it still looks visually striking. It's a really, really nice piece. In the way the muscles are defined underneath the suit, it actually brings out a nice contrast, some shadows, and some depth to the character overall. And personally, I'm a museum pose only type of guy, so on my shelf, I have zero complaints about the body used, but it is something to notate depending on what type of poses you are looking to put them in. Now, zooming into this badass head sculpt, again, we have this one here with the bandage mask around half of the face, and I think it looks great. There's some nice detail to the bandage in. Now, in regards to swapping out the head sculpt, it is very easy. You're just going to take this off. This little nubby piece, you're going to pull that off, and then you have this cowl, right? So that cowl you will swap out for this one. So if you want a clean look, oh, I think I'll go this way. Sorry about that. You sit that one right in the front there, and then you have the opportunity to use this head sculpt instead. Let's just kind of just show that one off real quick. Actually, let's just pop it on there. So looking at my fat hand there. So this head sculpt, again, the clean head sculpt, super nice, ripped straight from the comics. Has a cool glare to his face and a menacing look again to Batman. Just overall, both head sculpts are really, really nice, and I don't have much to complain about. Now, just to take a quick look at the cape on this guy, not too much to note. Great material. There's a lot of it, and the reason it's kind of weird to say that, the reason a lot of it is just there's a big cape on this guy. It really can stretch out far. Overall, it seems like a high-quality cape, beautiful look to it. It's tailored nicely. The only thing we can say, again, as Batman collectors and enthusiasts, is there is indeed no wire in the cape. So it's not a huge knock, especially when there's a plethora of other 1/6 Batman out there that are not including wires in the cape. And here we are with the accessories. So we're going to Harry Potter point these things out. We do have the batarangs here, so you got 3 of those. And then you have this, I don't even know what we call this, fisted, punch him in the face, bat symbol, brass knuckle thingy. But again, really nice. I like it. And then lastly, you have a cool grappling hook. Now this came out nice. I do think they did nice details on this. As you can see, as I spin it, there's just a slight little weathering in between the nooks and crannies there. It really, really looks like a cool little grappling hook. The only thing that I would note is these don't come down. It is stuck in this motion. So again, maybe another note if there was a way to actually get these hinged on there to where these could come either down, put them in different motions, up and down on here. Based off of the look of it, that's what I had expected, but I don't know. Who gives a crap ultimately in the end? It still looks really cool. Looks like a helicopter now. All right, so as we start to wrap this up and slap a score on this guy, some final closing notes. And the first thing that comes to mind is, well, as it spins, this thing looks incredible. This looks ripped straight from the comics. Nowadays, we are saturated with everything from movies like a fire hose. SSR Studio right now is one of the few that is putting out comic book accurate releases, and I cannot be happy enough. Now, as always, before we start to round this out, we do have a stand-in discount code with SSR Studio. You can check that out below in the details. You can contact SSR Studio directly on Instagram, place an order, get amazing shipping, amazing customer service, and possibly in your hands before it's released to all the big stores. I do know right now there's Shazam, there's Joker, there's a bunch of things on pre-order, so contact them, put some stuff on order, and they absolutely deserve the support. And then, of course, swinging back to the character in front of us is an example of why SSR Studio should continue to do these releases. Batman Hush is a great release. Sure, the articulation on the arms might not be the greatest, but personally, I don't give a crap about that. And of course, beyond that, or should I say, Batman beyond that. Terrible joke, because this obviously has nothing to do with Batman Beyond. But anyways, beyond that, we have 2 beautifully crafted head sculpts, a super easy system to get them on and off. So you have a clean cowl and a clean sculpt, and then you have this bandage sculpt and cowl. And as we make our way down from there, a very, very nicely tailored cape. Could we have had a wired cape? Yeah, I wouldn't have complained, but I keep them in poses as we see here, so I'm still not going to complain because I think the cape is awesome. It's extra large, it drapes well, it looks nice, beautiful tailoring, and just has a very classic Batman look to it and vibe overall. As I've noted, the belt is more of a hard plastic 3D printed belt, but I prefer that versus something that could deteriorate over time because, again, the untrained eye and the nice paint application that we have on this one, in my opinion, makes it a pure thumbs up. And then lastly, we have great articulation from the waist down. The legs are double jointed, so you have great movement there. The costume is beautifully tailored. It fits and sculpts that body nicely because of the definition and the muscles, as I also mentioned earlier. It almost gives it some contrast and some shadows throughout, which adds a little bit more artistic look to this piece. And I don't think I'm going to do it. I'm lazy, but even the bottom of his boots looked awesome. There was kind of a nice textured look to the bottom of them, and to the point that they went to that extent to even add texture and look to the bottom of the boots is a pure thumbs up in my book. It wasn't necessary, but they did it and they went to that extra level. So, with all that being said, as far as a score on this guy, I'm going to go with an 8.2 out of 10. This is a great release by SSR Studio. They have not only done this well, but they have outperformed themselves on their most recent releases, and of course, coming soon, it's only going to get better. So with an 8.2 out of 10, do I recommend this piece? 100%. I don't even know how they're putting out releases like this at the 250, 260 mark. Being a custom studio, my guess is there's only 1 to 3 people that are involved in the process on this. So the price point of whatever it is, 260, 280, I don't even know what it is, I think is a great price for a custom studio. And again, showing them support is something that I highly recommend. This figure has some amazing shelf presence. At an 8.2, I definitely do recommend it. I think that you'll like this on your shelf. It'll pair well if you have any other type of Joker and comic accurate versions of him on there. So the end message is, yes, get this piece, get whatever they have coming soon, because these classic comic book 1/6 scale figures are becoming rarer and rarer nowadays. All we're getting is Marvel and Star Wars. And if it's DC, it's from some type of crappy DC movie that came out. And I should kind of back off that comment, because their movies are getting a little bit better. They're getting better. But they are still not at that Marvel, Star Wars caliber level. So I do need to say, and it's cheesy to say, thank you SSR for giving us these comic accurate 1/6 scale figures. They look amazing and very unique and stand out on our shelves. As we pan through figures that hundreds of people have, we get to this one and say, wow, what a rare, stunning piece that we have on our shelves. And of course, with all that said, I look forward to what's coming next. So check out the code below, link in the description, reach out to SSR, get this, get whatever they have on pre-order, because you will not be disappointed. That's it for us here today at KC Toy Reviews. Check you guys out next time. Batman, SSR, giant cape, and some bandages like I got a boo-boo!
Huh?